Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and yes, you saw that correctly. There is finally a yellow 9-pan palette from ColourPop. This is the Honey palette launching from ColourPop. This palette will be live on the ColourPop website on Thursday, June 27th. You know I always try my best, my very best to get these videos out before the launch. I am a little bit behind because I was traveling, so hopefully this has me caught up now. I will try my very best to edit this video and get it up as quickly as possible, but this is launching on Thursday. ColourPop does a lot of their big launches on Thursdays. I'm assuming that this is going to be $12, just like all the other 9-pan palettes. The only thing to consider is there is a pressed glitter in here, and previously the eyeshadow palettes that they've released that do contain the pressed glitters are at a slightly higher price point. Not 100% sure how that's going to work out with this palette. Once I get the final definite confirmation, I'll make sure I confirm the price on the screen here while I'm editing, just so that you have the most up-to-date information. Just like their other monochromatic 9-pans, the outer packaging of the cardboard box and the palette itself look exactly the same. This is packaged in the same way as the previous 9-pans, so it's in a heavy-duty plastic palette, and it does have a locking clasp closure. All the shade names are pictured on the back. I do want to point out there is only one shade in here that is marked as not intended for the eye area, and that is the pressed glitter. So that warning is nothing new. As far as I know, glitters from all companies are marked as not intended for the eye area, just because there is that risk of a particle getting into the eye and scratching. I used to be an ophthalmic assistant. Trust me, a little tiny scratch on the cornea does not feel like a tiny scratch. So please use caution when using glitter in the eye area. I do recommend using a glitter glue even with these pressed glitters that have a bit of that sticky binder in there. Not only will the glue help the glitter adhere to your eye better, but it will also prevent some of the fallout, so that can minimize the risk of getting glitter in your eye. I'm not saying that is a foolproof way to prevent it, but it does help, at least in my experience. Of course, when we take a look inside here, there is a big mirror. There are 9 pans in here, and all the shade names are pictured next to the pans. That's something I love in a palette. In this yellow palette, we're getting 5 mattes, 3 shimmers, and of course this pressed glitter. One of the shimmers is a duochrome shade, so we love that around here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you some swatches now of this palette. I will be doing both finger and brush swatches on the inside of my arm with no primer down first. The only shade I'm not gonna brush swatch is that pressed glitter, that shade Palooza. I recommend applying that with a finger, so you're just gonna see the finger swatch there. The finger swatches will be pictured on top, and then the corresponding brush swatches will be below. And as always, with my brush swatches, I'll be using my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush, and I'll clean the brush off in between each shade using my Veramona color switch to prevent transfer between shades. So let's take a look at those swatches now.
First up, we have Stinger, which is a matte. Sunburst is our duochrome in this palette. Another bright matte, this is Sweet Spot. Next is Dandy, a metallic. Then of course Palooza, the pressed glitter. Another shimmer, Queen Bee, a little bit darker this time. Then the rest are mattes, Totally Buggin', Oh Behave, and Buzzkill. Just a reminder, finger swatches are on top and brush swatches are below.
Now that you've seen the swatches, let's jump into an eyeshadow tutorial using this palette. It is what I'm wearing on my eyes today, of course. So we're gonna do a quick tutorial, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts on this palette at the end.
I'm starting off this eye look just like I always do, priming my eyes with my favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. And since we are working with a lot of bright colors, I decided to set my eye base with just a little bit of setting powder so we have a nice smooth surface to blend on. Starting off with my transition shade, I'm using this warm, buttery, matte yellow shade called Totally Buggin'. This has a little bit of a tan tone to it, and that makes it a perfect transition shade for me. It's not too bright, it does give a soft edge to that crease area. Now I'm going to use Buzzkill. This is really the only shade that I can use to add any depth or drama. So I'm building that up on the outer part of my eye, blending up into the outer crease a little bit. And I also took that shade on a small flat brush and put it along the lower lash line as well. Now for that bright inner corner, I'm going to use this matte yellow called Oh Behave, just with a small flat brush, packing that around the inner part of the eye, doing a little extra blending before I start adding some shimmers. I am going to use the shade Queen Bee over most of my lid, just filling in that space between the inner corner and that deeper outer corner. I almost always apply shimmers with my finger. Then I curled my lashes and added some of my CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. That finishes off the look. This is really simple, but like I said, there's really only so much you can do with the shades in this palette. Either way, I love the way this turned out. It's really shiny, it's bright, it's summery. It just kind of makes me happy to look at it, and that's really what I want out of my makeup looks.
When it comes to this yellow palette, I was one of the people that really wanted a yellow palette, and I am somewhat satisfied by this. I don't love it, I don't hate it. I mean, the main thing is that this pressed glitter is in here. This pressed glitter Palooza, it is the only re-promoted shade, so we are getting 8 out of 9 new shades, which I love. But I am not a pressed glitter, especially in an eyeshadow palette setting like this, type of fan. It's just not something that I really love. I would much rather have a super metallic, foiled, or duochrome shade versus a glitter, but glitters are really hot right now. ColourPop has been really pushing glitter lately. They did release some loose glitters, a bunch of pressed glitters. They've been putting them in their palettes, so I get it. Just me personally, it's not something that I love. I do think this is a good place to use the glitter because there's only so much you can really do with yellow, and we all know that if they had put in any other colors in this palette, people would be coming for blood. The Instagram comments would be running amok with, this isn't a yellow palette, this is a neutral palette with a pop of yellow. I get it, it's just this pressed glitter is not for me. I also kind of feel I sort of have the same criticism for this that I had for the main squeeze, which is that overall it feels very one note. It feels all very mid-tone. There's not a lot of depth. I mean, this is the deepest shade, and I would say this is a medium shade at best. I just feel like a lot of these shades end up looking pretty similar, particularly Sweet Spot and Oh Behave, the two really bright matte yellows. I think those end up looking pretty similar once they're applied. The same with the metallic, like goldy yellow shades, Dandy and Queen Bee. They're not the exact same color, but once they're swatched, once they're applied, if you used both in one eye look, you wouldn't really be getting a whole lot of variety. See what I'm saying? I like this palette. I just wish there was a little bit more depth, a little bit more variety. For example, when we look at the Just My Luck palette, I think they did a great job of giving a lot of variation in both tone and depth in this palette. You definitely have some darker shades, you have some earthy shades, you have some really bright jewel tone shades, you have lighter, medium, deep. I just think when you look at these two side by side, just feels like, you know, something is missing from this yellow palette. It's just very medium, it's very mid-tone. When it comes to formula, yellows are tricky. If you've touched a lot of yellow shadows, particularly matte yellow shadows, they do tend to be pretty dry. They're not a like creamy type of matte, and that's just from the pigment that goes into them. I'm not going to be too hard on the formula for a yellow palette in general, just because I know that about yellow shadows. I will say that the matte shades, particularly Stinger, Sweet Spot, and Oh Behave, they do need to be layered up a little bit to get a very opaque swatch or a very opaque application. But I've come to expect that from a yellow, so that's not really a negative for me, but just be aware of that. Yellows, you are going to need to build them up a little bit more. overall, using these on my eyes, I haven't had any trouble, and I do like the way my eye look turned out. I love the honey bee theme. I love the shade names that they chose. It's all super cute. Don't hate it, don't love it. Kind of middle of the road on this one. I know that's not the kind of review people like to hear, but that's the truth. But I do think it fits well within the line. I'm really glad that they did a yellow palette. I think it is a cool addition to the ColourPop family, and I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for that yellow palette too, so I hope you're excited about this. I hope this is fulfilling your monochromatic yellow dreams. I would love to hear what you think about this palette. Is it everything that you wanted it to be? Do you wish there was a little bit more depth like I do? I always love to hear what you guys think about things, so please leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Okay. Me and my sisters do that all the time. It doesn't even make me think of Cardi B, it just makes me think of my sisters. Yeah? And if you clicked on this video, you already know what it's about. Let's try that again, because that was one awkward intro. Do I have anything in the background that's not launched yet? Okay, no. Legitimately a concern. This is the honey. I'm never gonna be able to not say it that way. This is the honey. See, it just sounds dumb when you say it that way. Where the heck is my paint pot? Oh. Pillar of professionalism. I like my eyes. Honey. I'm never gonna be able to stop saying that. Take it or leave it. Swatch brush. Killing it. Still not better yet, but I'm working on it. I did film my favorites video yesterday when I was much sicker, so the next video you see I'm gonna be regressing health-wise, but trust me, I am getting better. I hope my makeup looks okay, because I actually have something to go to tonight, and apparently I'm wearing yellow eyeshadow. Why not? It's summer. YOLO. Yellow. I'm gonna stop. I'm showing my age now. I apologize for every mom joke I ever make, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing it. Ooh. Honey. Sometimes I don't even want to hear my own jokes. Oh man, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Okay, gotta go. Okay, thanks. Okay, love you, bye.